Hello, I have a feeling that the bit I'm recording now I'm probably going to have to re-record, so maybe I won't make that much effort with it, but we'll find out. The reason I'm saying that is because the other day in fact yesterday, I was doing the voiceover section of the review of that USB-C monitor, and I started off like recording it, like I'd actually written a script for that one. In case anyone isn't aware, I kind of mix and match with these things, but with that one I looked at it, I put all the clips together, I thought, well, I want to say that there, I want to say that there, so I kind of wrote out what I wanted to say, and then I said it, and then I moved the video down to fit what I'm saying, but based on what was originally in the video. It's a weird way of working, I don't think that's how you're supposed to work, but anyway. So I was reading through this thing, and it all sounded okay to me. I did lots of kind of takes, as I always do, like 50 takes for like a minute, to make it look slicker than it really is. And then I got to the end of it and I realised I was sounding a lot chirpier, kind of more enthusiastic, kind of upbeat at the end than I had at the beginning. I wasn't depressed at the beginning, but I just spoke in a kind of normal way. But by the end, I kind of got myself up to speed. So then when I went back and looked at the stuff I'd recorded at the beginning, it sounded really depressing, like miserable. And I think this is the thing with television and that, there's this heightened sense of reality that everyone's a bit more upbeat, a bit more enthusiastic than you really would be in real life just talking to your friend. In fact, if you met somebody in real life who spoke like somebody did on television, you'd find them incredibly annoying, and yet somehow you kind of expect it from someone presenting something. So anyway, I went back and looked at this, this is miserable, so I went and re-recorded the whole thing again, up to the point where it sort of started to sound chirpy, so basically about 2/3 of it. So yeah, I thought that might happen here. You start off, I think this sounds okay, I think I'll sound normal-ish, about as normal as I can sound, and yet I'll probably look back at it later on and this bit will be really flat and kind of, and then the end bit will be upbeat, but then again my blood sugar goes a bit weird and then I get a bit slower again. It's all up and down, isn't it? Anyway, hello, another brilliant start to one of these Patreon updates. If I am using this bit, well, we'll find out, won't we? Now, since we last spoke, since we spoke, I mean, no, I'm not really getting much back kind of that way, but in the comments and stuff, since I last did one of these, since the June update, here's the videos I put out. The Sony PCT15 video picture phone things, the GP N3R portable record player from Japan, the Philips background music machine thing, the one with the massive tapes that took a lot of time to repair, a quicker video about thermal video printers, the video about that metal box telephone tape loop thing that was a BT announcement machine, the mini thermal printer and camera, the 1970s party in a box, and then finally yesterday portable monitors. So that's all the videos since the June update. Now the June update was at the beginning of June and we're now mid-July, but still, I've been kind of, I don't want to say knocking them out because it kind of sounds like you just don't care about them, but I've been putting out a regular video. And half of that is kind of, I'm chasing my tail a little bit. It's a bit like, when you get someone in a casino and they lose a load of money, so then they carry on gambling, hoping to win it back again. The last really good video, the most successful one, was that Philips tape changing device, with the tapes that go up the ramp and back down. That did really well. Now, I thought that Sony PCT15, the video phone one, would have been a bit of a breakthrough video, a bit of a hit in a similar way, and it looked like that initially. You get this graph on YouTube when you first put out a video and it says this video's views are 46% higher than normal. I thought, oh, that's good, because it looks at your average views in the first same period for a few hours, and it'll only start telling you this after about 3 or 4 hours or something, once the video's gone up, maybe an hour, and it's sort of 46%. I thought, well, this is good, and it's going like this, and your normal things here, and it's going, oh, this, it's going to be another hit like the. And then it says your views are now 40% higher than normal, 39%, and it died. So the subscribers thought, oh, that's an interesting one, and watched it, but perhaps just not enough of them to hit whatever this thing is, to say, oh, start recommending this video to other people. So it kind of nearly got there, like a roller coaster. You know, nearly got to that point where the video got into this kind of, hey, recommend this video, it seems to be a popular one, people like it bit. It didn't quite get there, and then as a result, once the subscribers had sort of finished watching it, it didn't go anywhere else after that, which was a bit of a disappointment, because when I saw those Sony video phone things, I was really excited about them. I mean, this chap got in touch, hey, what do you think of these? Chap from the Netherlands, and I thought, those are brilliant. Yeah, exactly the kind of thing that I like. Brand new in box, Sony, little TRTs, everything was there. I thought this will be great. And I made the video about it. I thought the video was all right, you know, kind of, it explained how they worked and everything, and there wasn't really that much to go on historically, but I found a bit of information out about them. So it all seemed to come together quite well, but it just, you know, it didn't quite do the job. I mean, when you look back, it's actually, that has been the most successful one still for the last few weeks. The others haven't really attracted that much attention, and I do feel like I'm letting people down sometimes when I put these videos out, because it's something that I'm interested in, and I think, oh, you know, this will be good. And beyond a kind of a core audience that might get 100,000, 150,000 views type thing, bearing in mind there's a million subscribers, so you're like 10% of subscribers are kind of interested in the thing. It kind of dies off pretty quick, and I think, oh, well, maybe people didn't find that as interesting as I did. That's a bit of a shame. Let me try something else, so that I'll try a different kind of angle on something. I've been doing these kind of shorter videos, as you know, because I've got the issues outside the YouTube with the parents and dementia and all that kind of stuff. We don't want to go into that here again. We'll just leave that to one side, because that's personal stuff, but not in the sense I'm saying, oh, it's personal, I'm not telling you about it, but everyone's got these things going on, haven't they? So you don't need my things to add to your things, and it's not very entertaining to talk about, so we'll just leave that somewhere else. So as far, I'll just kind of stick to the YouTube side of things and the Patreon stuff. But yeah, it hasn't really been that successful a month, despite these things being things that I was quite interested in. The Philips background music machine with the big cassettes. Now, that originally, the first time that I showed that to anyone was on a Patreon video, perhaps 1.5 years, 2 years ago. And I said, has anyone got any tapes for this? And the answer was no, nobody did. And then, of course, I found that tape for it. So I was really made up that I got the tape that went with the machine, the tape fitted the machine. And the repair, though, it went beyond my capabilities by quite some margin, and whilst I did manage to do a lot of stuff to it, and I was quite happy with what I didn't really get it working properly. The audio that I played in it at the end, I'd actually taken the reels out of the cassette, you know, the audio that I played over the end credits, not during the video. To get a clearer copy, I took the reels out of the cassette, I put them on my reel-to-reel machine, 4-track, and I recorded it in one direction and then back in the other direction, but the way the tracks were laid out don't line up with a 4-track tape machine, so only 2 of the tracks do. So if you were to imagine you've got like a piece of tape with your 4 tracks across it like that, well, on a 4-track stereo normal, you know, tape reel-to-reel machine, I think the tracks are kind of towards the edge a little bit, so you've got like a bit of a gap in the middle. I think this is right, and then you've got your 2 tracks along either edge. Well, when this Philips one, it was, I think they were like laid out kind of, you know, equally across the tape and more towards the edge. So when you played it back, it only got the audio for 2 of the tracks, but I got 2 of the tracks off the 4-track tape recorded clearly. So that was, it turned out to be, I think, 3 hours 15 minutes or something like that. And I picked a couple of the tracks out of there and played them over the end credits. And it turned out that I was very lucky with the ones that I'd picked, because I actually then went on to upload the tracks that I had recorded, the full ones there, and put those on. By the way, the ones that I didn't record, the muffledy ones, because they were there, they were just kind of muffled because the heads didn't line up. I listened to them. There wasn't really anything in there that was all that great. So luckily the 2 tracks I could hear were the better parts of the tape. So I don't think I missed out on any like classic excellent songs. But I'm losing track of my tangents here. It's like an inception of tangents this now. But yeah, the audio that I had recorded, I uploaded it, and Skip Intro uploaded it on his channel. I've linked to it in a previous video, Patreon video. I'll put these links in the description for this one as well on Patreon. But yeah, you can hear all that audio off there. But because I'd uploaded it in full on that channel, everything seemed all right. And then after it was a few days, like 4 days or 5 days, so then all the content matches came in, bang, 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 and I think there was about 6 or so tracks in there that content matched. But luckily, none of the ones were the one that I'd used over the end credits, the kind of chirpy, upbeat, kind of Austin Powers type of tune. So that meant that my original video didn't get any kind of content match hit. But I was very lucky because I just picked a random track that sounded cool, played that one, and it turns out that one wasn't one of the ones that matched yet. If it does, I'll just mute it. That's something that you can do. If you get a bit of audio that hits a content match, you've got a choice of what you can do with it. I'd just mute it so you get quiet end credits. It wouldn't be the end of the world. So anyway, yeah, that BGM machine, that was a long time to make that video. Now, I've been trying to make videos a little bit quicker because people don't seem to really care about the way it's produced. It's more about the subject. So I've done some videos in the past, for example, like the Philips ski slope machine, which have been really successful, and the whole thing was recorded with live audio. So I've got my microphone on like this while I'm doing it. I'm talking about what I'm doing. I'll do a lot of like descriptions and repeating things, like I'll pick something up and it'll be the wrong way around for the camera, so I'll do it again and say, oh, here's this, that, and the other. So I'm doing a lot of repeats of bits while I'm doing it, so it takes a long time to film, but very easy to edit, because all you do is you pick the best bits out, you shove them all together, and then there's no like voiceover. Half the studio's just collapsed on me. Well, that's great. The whole lot nearly came down. Probably will in a minute. But yeah, so it's easy to edit, and you can just put it all together at the end. So it's a quicker process, and that video proved that it didn't really affect the viewing numbers. Now, when I did that monitor thing, I did it the sort of the old way I used to do, which was like shoot stuff in silence, put it all in the editing package, look at the clips and think, well, I want to say this, hit this and this. And in like my older days, I'd have just said it and over again until I got it right in the edit. And then recently I've kind of been writing down what I wanted to say, so I'll make sure it was a little bit more sense. And I didn't repeat myself. That way, if you write it all down, you realise, oh, I've said that up there, I don't want to say it again there. Whereas, anyway. So there's 2 different ways of doing things. And I've been using the kind of quicker way, the live voiceover with the showing what I'm doing as I'm doing it and talking about it, because it just makes the videos quicker to put together. But sometimes it hasn't really helped. I thought that people maybe like that kind of approach, that kind of more spontaneous type of way of doing things after that Philips one, and then I've done that on these others. And this Philips, the BGM one, the big cassette thing, it didn't really work there. But it took me a long time to do that video. It took me like 2 weeks. There was a lot that you didn't see in that video. For example, I ordered the wrong belts twice. I measured them, and I ordered them from this place, and I cocked up. I did my millimeters to centimeters wrong. I was kind of measuring, so it's 20 centimeters. Oh, what I need is the 200 millimeter. I just blew it. So then, and those were like 20 quid's worth of belts. That was ridiculous. I had a very expensive place, but it was the only ones that you could get the size that I actually did need. So I ended up ordering the other ones from the same place again, the right size belts. I ordered the wrong set. The second wrong set I got was like a mixed bag that said it went up to this size, but it didn't. Those mixed bags are rubbish as well. They're always dead poor quality. So there was that, and then there was a few other things that I was kind of waiting for and taking apart. Like as soon as I took some apart, I thought, oh, I need this thing. I haven't got it. Ordered various different bits and pieces. It was in pieces itself on my desk here for like a couple of weeks. And that meant I couldn't really get to do anything else. I've only got this one little space to really shoot stuff in, with the missus still working from home still at the moment. I'll mention more on that in a moment. But yeah, took a long time, and the one didn't really do much either. We're in the kind of 180,000, 150,000, which is great. You know, if you'd started off as a YouTuber and all the rest of it, and this is a part-time gig, but if it's your full-time job, you hope for these kind of more successful ones every now and then, just to kind of boost the numbers. And if you get a big hit video, you can kind of take a day off or something and think, well, that'll do for, you know, the next, basically that video has been as successful as 2 videos, so therefore I can just take a couple of days off and then move things along a bit. But you can see why I've been knocking them out, because it's like, oh, that one didn't work, right, I'll do another one. Oh, that one didn't work, well, I'll do another. But I think what the problem is, I'm not trying to think of the word here, not fractured, right, I spent a minute trying to think of the word. I still haven't got there, so I'm going to say split. That'll do. We'll go for split. I've kind of split the audience a little bit. I cover quite a few different things that interest me. That's basically the topic for the channel. Now, there's other channels that get very specific about something. You know, I'm going to talk about Star Wars movies or whatever it is. But that's kind of got a limited time span. I always wanted a channel I could just constantly show things like, you know, forever. Because after all, it's all that I do for a living. A lot of these other people maybe have other sort of side gigs, things that they could do. They're musicians, or they do podcasts or whatever, live performances of something. You know, I've got this is what I do, so I want it to be a thing that's sustainable. As a result, I split my topics up quite a bit, but as a result that splits the audience up, because when I do a video about something that's new, a new piece of technology, there'll be comments that say, oh, stop doing these new reviews, or more interested in the retro stuff. And you do the retro stuff, people say, not interested in this dusty old rubbish, I want to see the new tech, you know. So I still can't think of the word that I want to use, but you know the word I mean. I'll probably put it on the screen at the bottom, because I'm sure it'll come to me later on. But yeah, anyway, I've done that, if it has come to me, with the audience. So people are interested in different things. So I've got like 1 million subscribers. How many of those are really kind of active? Not so many, probably, maybe 600,000 or whatever. But out of that, I've got, you know, the audience isn't all interested in everything, so I think that's kind of my own fault, but it's just the way it's got to be. But I always feel like I'm letting someone down as a result. You know, whatever video I put out, I feel like I'm letting people down, because the vast majority of people who could have watched it aren't interested in it. So I'm kind of thinking I'm just tailoring the video to a minority each time, and it feels kind of like, while I was doing that video about the Sony background music machine and the editing and all that for it, because I'd shot the live audio on that one, it gave me the opportunity to try something a little bit different. I'm always like experimenting with these videos. It might not seem like it sometimes, but just the way I try and shoot them are different things all the time. And there was one thing I did on that particular video, because I had this live audio, when I say, no, this is a thing and it does such and such, blah, blah, blah. And then I'd have like a section where I wanted to take something apart or open something up, and there wasn't really anything to say. So I was having these spells in that video of kind of silence, and even when I edited them down like as quick as I could, you wanted to show what was going on, you shoved it all together, and still there was like this 5-10 seconds of silence while I was taking something apart. And it was weird. It was kind of, it didn't feel right. I thought, well, do I need background music put in here? And I had this idea in the back of my head that maybe I should use the background music throughout. Probably a good job I didn't, since it all content matched there. But I came up with another solution, and it's something that maybe other people do, I don't know. It isn't something I got from anywhere. But what I did is, the audio that I was like using for a section where I was going blah 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 blah, I detached the audio, cut the scene short that the audio actually belonged to, dragged in the scene of the disassembly, but let the audio run under it. It sounded a bit arty-farty. I developed this technique that is amazing and nobody else in the world has ever used it. But I thought I'll try this idea of running the audio from a previous scene under the next scene. And I just want to show you a few times when I did that. I think I've got 3 clips here, just to give you an idea as to what I'm talking about. And the funny thing is, nobody noticed it, which is the perfect thing. When it comes to editing, you don't want people to notice your editing. So nobody commented on it, nobody noticed it. and yet I thought it made the video flow really well, and in reality it ended up perhaps taking a few minutes off the running time, a few kind of boring minutes, because it just kept the thing moving along. It was like flowing. I like the editing to kind of make the video flow as a kind of thing without stops and starts and things. So yeah, just watch these little clips, you'll see what I'm talking about. So you pay attention, the audio drops off the bit I'm talking about but carries on under some other sections that I shot separately. And then out of that end comes line level, and you can adjust that with these pots on the top here. And then I'll plug something into there, send it off to my powered speakers, and hopefully we'll be able to hear something. Okay, well, place your bets. Do you think we're going to get any sound out of this? And that should be pulling this through. So I'm not sure what that's about, but let's just do one thing at a time. I'll put some pads on here, the kind that I'd normally put inside an 8-track to repair it, and at least then we'll have the tape pushing against the heads. Right, I'm pretty sure that is going to do nothing at all. Okay, the next job is to remove this motor. I'd like to be able to take it out because on the bottom of it, whenever I touch it, I'm getting black gunk on my fingers, so there's clearly quite a bit of it down there, but it's just impossible to access it. Right, I'm back. It's probably about an hour on from when I last appeared, and I checked my blood sugar before and it was really low, and I've got a feeling that most of the stuff I recorded earlier was just rubbish as a result because the brain wasn't quite working properly. But going back to what I think I was saying, the stuff I shot earlier on, I think a lot of it is rubbish. We'll see. I'll look at it in editing. If it's terrible, I'll cut it all out, maybe say it again sometime in the future. Catch you up on a couple of things. Some people wanted to know, well, at least one chap anyway, do you remember last time I mentioned that there was that 8-track that I'd received, Charles Wright, and I'd copied it across and I'd sent the guy the audio file of it. So following that, nothing, and I told you I'd sort of put the SD card in the packaging. Anyway, I'd sent that off last time, and some people wanted to know what the end of this story was. Well, this is it. There isn't one. I still haven't heard back from the fella, so I still don't know whether he's dropped dead or not. I think it's very unlikely. He's a youngish chap. Well, youngish. A bit younger than me, I think. Everyone's younger than me nowadays, it seems like. But, yeah, so now people say, oh, well, maybe you should look him up and email him, all this kind of stuff. I know who he is. In fact, I did a bit of a search. He's a funk DJ. He plays music, discos and stuff, or whatever it is, based, I think his main genre is funk though, and I know like what city he's based in and all the rest of it, and I've had a look up. There's nothing saying in memoriam or any of that business. Just it all went dead, but there you go. So that was the end of that story. Some people wanted to know what happened, and that's the end of it. I don't know. He must have got the music, or maybe he hasn't, but I've done my bit. Right, so that was an interesting story. Wasn't it fascinating? I maybe should write a book about that one. I'm joking. It was boring. I'll try and liven it up. There's a little bit of a video I could put in here, perhaps. You're aware on this Skip Intro channel. The other week I put up, you might be aware that I put up he put up a video about Douglas Trumbull that was off of VHD. Now, the editing in that, we're talking about editing, was a bit of a nightmare because overall it was just one side of a VHD. It was like 50 minutes, I think, supposed to be in length, this documentary about special effects chap, and he'd obviously produced this himself in a way in association with some Japanese documentary crew to try and promote his show scan technology, I think trying to drum up some business presumably in Japan for it, which unfortunately never came off. It would have been really interesting to see some show scan movies, 70mm, 60 frames a second, you know, a big screen. It would have been I would have enjoyed having a look at one. I might have thought it was rubbish if I saw it, but I doubt it. I think from what I've heard, when people have seen it, they said it's like seeing the thing that was really there, you know. But anyway, so going off. So there's this documentary thing on a VHD, and I saw it in on the auctions in Japan. Looking at through VHDs, I thought, I don't know, I never heard of that one, and I looked it up on IMDb and it didn't exist. There was nothing that looked anything like it. So got it and copied it across, and afterwards looked at the video, and it was jumping about all over the place. There was long sections that were fine, and then there must have just been a couple of little specks or errors or blotches, mold, whatever on the disc, And when the stylus got there, there was one bit, it just kept repeating over and over again. There was it got like a minute into it, then went bong, back again, and just kept doing that. And you kept thinking, I'm sure I've seen this before. But of course, when they jump, they're so quick, and there's no like interference. It just goes, the time just keeps repeating. Anyway, so I had to edit these little sections down. The issue with them is that the jumping on them moved forwards. So it wasn't like a skipped record that would just click, click, click and get stuck. And therefore I'd be able to say, right, I'll capture the bit before, ignore that bit, capture the bit afterwards. No, as it stuck, it kind of kept jumping ever so. So do this about 3 times, that, and then that. And it just kept, so you get these like stutters that were like max headroom. But you couldn't just jump from that one to that one, because that one was like 3 seconds further on, there would be a big jump. You had to edit the stutters. So you got if somebody said the word like stutter, you'd have to go, and it goes stutter, you'd go, you get the S, and then you'd cut out the repeats of the S, they go, and get the T, get one of them, not all 5, and then cut out a few. Anyway, so you get the idea. So I did my best to edit this thing so it flowed. And it looks all right now. Nobody's really watched it because it's not really anyone else's cup of tea, I suppose. It's just mine again. It's probably me doing stuff that I'm interested in rather than things that interest a wider audience. But it's there again, link in the video description. But I just want to show you the video now of what one of these sections originally looked like. And then if you're interested, the proper documentary thing is accessible via Skip Intro's channel from the link under this video.
In the early days of movies, there was an enormous amount of innovation and experimentation, and the early films of Méliès and Porter, followed on by films by Keaton and Chaplin, were filled with special effects, optical illusion, mirror gags, all kinds of exploration of the medium. And those were the early days when a lot of the conventions were created and built. The idea of close-up of one person, a close-up of the other, a 2-shot, a master shot, editing practices and ways of telling stories. And then there was an enormous change from black and white film to color film, and an even bigger change from silent films to talking films. It's interesting to me that the first working system for synchronizing sound to motion pictures was developed and working in 1904.
Oh, got to show you this. This is something that I've just seen on my iPad. I took this picture a couple of months ago. It's just a screen grab off an Alibaba or AliExpress advert. And this is a product you could buy. It's just a cassette. I just want to show you this. It's a 24-bit cassette. Well, obviously it isn't. It says treasures, but I think that's supposed to spell treasures, but it's said that wrong. So everything about this is wrong. They were just blank cassettes, but you could get treasures 24-bit Silver Moon blank cassettes. Talking of that GPO announcement machine, some people might have seen, if they follow his channel or his Facebook or his whatever he does, I'm sure he does everything, the YouTube channel Look Mum No Computer, which is a chap called Sam Battle, who does a lot of like builds with synthesizers and electronics and things. I'll be honest, I haven't really followed him much over the years. Not for any reason other than I've just got a lot of stuff going on and I don't follow everyone on YouTube. And I think a lot of people assume that everyone on YouTube knows everyone on YouTube. And there's a lot of people out there that are doing some very good stuff, but I just don't really catch up with what they're doing on a regular basis. But I've seen a few of his videos in the past, and he builds these very elaborate things, and I think he plays synthesizers and all sorts of stuff. Anyway, once I put that video out about the GPO tape loop thingamajig, a lot of people put in the comments, they said that this chap was putting together a museum, and in this museum he was putting together an old telephone exchange. And of course he's in the UK as well, which is quite rare for kind of technology YouTube type people, and mostly whenever anyone mentions one, they're a good distance away. Anyway, so he's doing this, and they said, oh, this would be a suitable thing for him to put in there. And I thought, yeah, it probably would be. And truth, I didn't have anywhere to put it either. Once I'd showed it, that was the end of that. I even got back in touch with Neil, and I was sort of saying, look, do you want this back? Because I don't need it anymore. but there might be somebody that perhaps could use it. And if anyone gets in touch with me, this was before the video went out, I said, if anyone gets in touch and could use it, would you be all right with me passing it on, because it's not something I've got any space for? And he was quite fine with that, because he needed the space in his garage, but he said he'd take it back if I didn't want it. He just wanted to look after the thing. Anyway, fortunately, the video went out. People mentioned this Sam chap's put together this exchange and a bit of a museum type of thing. He then got in touch with me and said, oh, I saw your video, blah, 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 because loads of people would obviously email him and contact him afterwards and said, oh, you should see this on Techmoan's channel. And I said, well, yeah, you can have it if you want it. I'll just double check with Neil. Told him about the guy. Said, oh, I'll be glad for it to go to him. And then we arranged, Sam was coming up to Stoke-on-Trent and to pick up a really interesting looking piece of equipment from he'd seen on like somebody advertising locally there. So I drove down there, met him there, passed him over this thing, took a picture, and no doubt I think he's making a video about it this weekend perhaps, so that should be up on his channel, Look Mum No Computer. I'll put a link to his channel again in the information below. So yeah, you might like that channel if you don't already follow him, and you'll no doubt see that tape machine added in with his collection. I think it's going to a good place. I like the idea of it going to a bit of a museum, somewhere that people can look at stuff and rather than it just being locked away. This was good. I like that. I think we get to the end there. Oh, I've got one weird one at the end. This says, so you want to look 20 years older than you actually are. That's all it says. I'm assuming they're talking about me having this sort of grey beard. Well, if I was 20 years older than I actually am, I'd be 70. I don't know if this looks 70. If it does, fair enough. You know what? I'm quite happy looking 20 years older than I am. Because I feel it, so I think it should fit. I'll tell you one thing about all this beard and stuff. I think people used to get the impression that I was trying to be like young. You know, the trouble is, being on YouTube, mostly young people in it. So if you're on there, it's a bit like the old guy at a disco. Hey kids, I'm cool type of thing. And not that I was trying to do that, but I think that was the feeling that people were getting. That was like this old guy on YouTube. Well, I wasn't really old when I started. I've just been doing it a long time, and when I was young, it wasn't there, so there wasn't really much of an option. When I was 20, there wasn't any YouTube, so I had this impression. I thought, if I grow a beard, this grey beard, it just shows that I don't give a crap anymore. I'm just a silly old man who doesn't give a crap, and people just leave him alone. There's that fella there's an old grey chap who's older than me, who does things with magic tricks and stuff, and I forgot the name of the channel. I've seen a couple of his things, Victorian novelties and stuff, that kind of thing. Anyway, people leave him alone. They see him as some kind of nice granddad type character. So I thought, I'll go for that option. So I tried it, and it's worked, you know. A lot less hate out there. People just seem to leave me alone, as in you'd leave, if you're at that disco that I've just made up, and there was this guy trying to be the cool guy, and he's kind of like, dyed his hair and got a medallion on and all that, and there's all these 20-year-old kids in the same place, it'd be a laughing stock. Yeah, if somebody goes in looking like Father Christmas, they just kind of leave him be. They say, oh yeah, it's all right, it's just some old bloke, you know. I think it's that kind of feeling of somebody trying to pretend to be something that they're not. So I'm quite happy going the other way and going, look, I'm a silly old bloke, and they go, it's just some old fella, leave him alone. And it seems to have worked. So there you go, that's a tip for anyone. If you want a bit of peace and quiet, just grow a grey beard and people just ignore you. You become like invisible almost. Okay, now this one's kind of interesting, in as much as anything in this video is interesting, which is not very much, but you might notice in that corner over there, I don't know if you could, actually it's probably behind the microphone, there's, let me grab it. This is an Asteroids machine, a Replicade one, New Wave Toys. They make these lovely replicas. And I've always wanted an Asteroids machine. Of course, it's more really that I wanted the proper vector display, but I just decided to get one of these one day. They're quite expensive. They're not like your little novelty kind of keyring things. I think I've got some up of those up there. I don't know how to turn it off now. Stop. What if I hold that? There we go. Yeah, so I bought one of these, and I had to import it from the US, I think. And as a result, I bought it direct from the company, and now, of course, I'm on their mailing list, this New Wave Toys or Replicade or whatever they call themselves. So I got a survey through, and I don't think everyone got this. Maybe all the customers did, but I haven't really seen anyone mentioning it online. It was one of these, click here to complete this survey about a potential new product. And I should have taken some screenshots of it, but basically what it was asking was, it just said, would you be interested in a 1/6 scale, I think it's 1/6 scale, pinball machine? Yeah, proper mechanical pinball machine, but 1/6 scale. Would you be prepared to pay a premium price for something like this? So I clicked on like hell yeah or whatever it is, because I've always wanted a mechanical pinball machine, and I've never had the space to take up so much space. I've got a tiny house, and it's just one of those things that it's never going to happen unless I was to be able to move into a much larger house, which isn't going to happen, unfortunately. I think I could just about kind of keep what I've got. So I'll never get my mechanical pinball table, and I've always looked at them. I mean, years and years and years ago, I used to look at them. I remember when the Lethal Weapon 2 pinball was brand new, and that would be 92, I think, when that first came out, and I was like, oh yeah, I played it, and I sort of found out where you could buy them. I used to get the World's Fair, I think it's called, newspaper designed for arcade owners, and you could get it in the W.H. Smiths and things. And I used to look through the adverts for the I think probably go back to the 80s here for the pinball tables and how much they cost. They were about £4,000 for a new one back then, I think. And then there's some older ones like £2,500, quite a lot of them, just slightly used. Anyway, always fancied a mechanical pinball. Like I say mechanical because there's a lot of these virtual pinball tables. I did buy a small virtual pinball table. It was absolutely rubbish. It cost me a lot of money, and it just was terrible. So I don't want to do that again. I just want to go for a real one, but I can't afford it. I haven't got this. Well, I could afford it perhaps, but I haven't got the space. So if those guys come out with a smaller, proper pinball table, I'd be interested. Now, people in the past have sort of said, "Oh, what about one of these? It's these toy ones, things that were made in the 70s or the 80s with little plastic bumpers." And there were some of them that were better than others, but just nowhere near, not 1% as good as a proper one with a big back playfield glass with a dot matrix display, perhaps, or even the video ones. I've even been looking at the new ones that have come from what's the name of the company again? Oh, why do I keep doing this to myself? I'm trying to come up with answers, information on the fly that just is not there in my head. It's not Data East, it's not Gottlieb, it's not Williams. Let's pop this on the screen. This isn't going to happen either. But anyway, that company, they're making brand new pinball tables, and there's a nice Beatles one. It costs about £5,000 or something. There's a Mandalorian one. So yeah, I always look at these. It's just one of those dreams, where people have certain dreams that I've always wanted. So I hope that comes true, because I'd absolutely love one of those. And I just thought you might want to know that they're thinking about it, put it that way. I don't know what I bet it costs £500 as a minimum, and I'd be quite happy to pay that, because even if I could afford one of the bigger ones, I just got nowhere to put it. And I've got two more things here. Well, I've got two. Is that three? No, that one more thing. Somebody found this picture of this chap playing in the some sort of Sonic 30th anniversaries thing. I don't know what it was on YouTube or whatever, but he said that guy in the middle looked like me. And you know what, rarely when people say someone looks like me do they look like me, but I would say that guy looks exactly like me, just from that angle. I don't know if he always looks like that, but unfortunately for him, he's also got the double chin that I had before I hid it. So yeah, of course he's got the violin neck, hasn't he? So that probably gives you the double chin, doesn't it? So if you ever see a guy like this walking around like that, who looks like me, it might be that guy who played the violin. I feel sorry for him looking like me, because I'm not the most handsome of individuals, but yeah, doppelganger. Right, getting down this list. I've got to edit loads out of this. It's going on way too long, and it's rubbish, isn't it? Okay, I'll just pick out a couple of better parts from this. So one thing I wanted to say, better, if these are rubbish now, you're going to be like, what was the rubbish stuff? Right, so this karaoke set here, just want to mention a couple of things about it. There was an extra one of those in it. That was a duplicate of 106, and in some of the shots of the video I forgot to take it out. and you can see it because it was hidden in with the ones at the bottom. It's just a slightly different colour. Believe it or not, the top row and the bottom row, they're different colours. I mean, it's obvious in some places like that, it's kind of brown and that is cream. But that's a darker pink, that's a lighter pink, that's a brighter green, that's a darker green. You get that idea. So that should belong up there. But yeah, I got like a duplicate 106. And as well as that, there was a couple more pieces of paper in there, which I've started recently. I've realised just to cut stuff out of videos that I don't really know about, because if I mention there's something I don't know about, that's all anyone's interested in, the thing that I didn't know. So if I just kind of skip past it, it's easier on everyone. But yeah, there was a booklet in here, part 3, and I assumed that maybe this was the advert for the box after this, because this is like set D or something. Maybe it's the one before it, I don't know. The numbers don't really make any sense, but there's more lyrics in here. I think maybe this is just a book for another set that kind of got lumped in with this. But yeah, because none of the track titles are the same as the ones that I've got. And it seems to have, I don't know, what's that, 1, 2, 3, hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so there's 10, so there's 50 lyrics in there. But because these are 100 sets, I'm not quite sure. But anyway, that was in the box when I got it. Just someone has thrown that in. It's more lyrics for more songs. And then there was this sheet in here as well, which was, again, more lyrics for more songs. But like, seemed like even this, and it said 1978 on there. So it shows this was going for quite a while. That's more what that's interesting about. It's like a 1978 set with, hold on, 5, 6... I think about 11 times, so that'd be 22 tracks on there. So I don't know what that's doing in there, but rather than me saying, oh, I've got this, I don't know what it is, and then all the people that can read Japanese say, well, actually, it's this, that, and the other. It's easy just saying that. It's easy just leaving it out of the video. But yeah, interesting sets. The thing that attracted me to this is just that, is this a thing? You know, like bento boxes and things, the kind of interest in something that's very neatly organised in a case. You know, like in old 70s films, there'd always be that guy who opened up a case and it had like a sniper rifle in it. And he'd be assembling all the different bits, and they'd manage to fill in like 5 minutes of film with this guy setting all his sniper rifle up. And it kind of scratches the same itch with something like this, just a neat set where everything it has its place and it's very organised in a box. And I just wanted to go off that because I've been meaning to feature one of these Sony radios at some time, a shortwave radio, and this is much the same. We've got, I don't know if you can see that, we've got like a set with all the bits that have their own little place, an adapter, an aerial, and all that. I wanted to talk about those, but I don't really know much about shortwave, not enough to talk about it knowledgeably, certainly. So, and of course, there's a lot of people that are really into that stuff, like insanely into it. So me doing a video, it's just like it's like inviting everyone to come on and complain. So I don't know. I've been trying to find a way to kind of talk about my interest in little shortwave radios, but without kind of upsetting all the people that are obsessed about shortwave, because I do just like the sets. I think that's the thing with those, and sets. And coming off the back of that, you get this same kind of feeling, I think, with like a socket set, you know, like for tool set, or a set with a lot of drill bits in. You know, everything's just got its like neat little case. And this appealed to that same thing. This is the Mi Precision Screwdriver Kit. Now, of course, I use precision screwdrivers in things that I do, and I just thought this was a nice little set. You'll be able to find these on Amazon and stuff. Mi Precision Screwdriver set if you're interested. So first off, kind of aluminium case, smooth, rounded off edges, no sharp edges on it at all. Press the top, that bit pops up, and this is a lovely little screwdriver set. And the thing with this is all magnetised. Now, you don't tend to get that with screwdrivers, so if you do that, they'd all fall out. But this one, everything has its place. So again, you just get your little screwdriver out, and each of these bits is held in magnetically, and take one out, and of course they don't all fall apart. You know where it came from, and this is a really nice movement. You got that one of those rotating ends on it, you know, so when you're doing a screwdriver thing, you can rotate it in your hand. And it's just a beautiful little set, and it cost not so much at all. And if you're into your little sets, your screwdrivers, that might scratch an itch. I just wanted to show you that because the other time I showed you the Victorinox knives, and I said I kind of got into those. I think it's kind of in the same area. But talking of which, one I didn't show you because it was a bit decadent, I suppose. After I went all in. I got one of these. This is kind of the silly Victorinox knife. Now I did find this at a good price, but still a good price was a silly price, if you know what I mean. But a lot cheap. But this, it's got like every whoops, I've lost my bit off the end, I'll find that later. It's got like every possible thing in here, I think. Loads of, it's got the light of course in there, and this one had the stopwatch and clock and whatever else have you in the side. But I just wanted to show you that because look at that, it almost unusable. Well, I say it really is unusable. It advertised it in Victorinox catalogues as collector's item, kind of a novelty more than a usable tool. But believe it or not, I have used it. You can just about get it in your hand like that. And I've cut things open. In fact, I did it in a video recently. I reached over and I just needed to cut open a box. And I don't think anyone noticed it. But because normally people like spot everything I'm using, and nobody commented, oh, you got the stupid Victorinox thing that's ridiculous. But yeah, I just wanted to show you that because I kind of got a bit crazy late at night one day and I bought that, and I don't regret it at all, but I don't really want to show it off either. A couple of other things. I've just taken my LED watch off earlier on because I was getting a bit sweaty in here, you know, with the heat and stuff. And I've been afraid of sweating into the back of watches ever since I was 11 years old or something like that, maybe 12. And it's because I got this watch back then, and it was the best thing ever at that age. And it was a watch from a company called Trafalgar, and Trafalgar made terrible quality watches. It was just some Hong Kong company, really poor quality. And I had a Trafalgar radio watch at one point, and it broke very quickly. I took it back. Next one broke. I think I might have even taken that one back. The next one broke. They tended to sell them in, I think, Index or Argos back in the day. It was probably Index. I'm not too sure. And so early 80s this is. But I got a Space Invader watch from them. Unofficial, you know, Invaders. But it played a really good game of Space Invaders, or at least it felt like it did to me at the time. And it was this big watch. I remember it being really like a tall screen on my hand. But unfortunately, I went to a party as a kid, you know, children's party, dancing around stupidly. I think it was the last time I ever danced. Guilty feet have got no rhythm. But and I sweated into the back of this, and it killed it. It killed the watch, and I was absolutely gutted. I remember, I think I was crying about this. Maybe I was about 30. No, I think I was like 10 or 11 or whatever it was. Because I was so upset about this anyway. I think we got a refund or whatever. That was the end of that. But I was so upset that I'd lost, and it stuck with me ever since. So, you know, when I got really sweaty, I'm all right with like Apple watches and things that are waterproof. But this, when it's something like a very expensive thing like this, and it's probably got poor quality seals on it, I took it off because I really didn't want to sweat into it. But slightly happy ending to this story. Ever since then, since eBay started, I've looked for this watch again because I always, and there was no one's ever advertised it. No one has ever shown one because they all died. They all broke. They were so poorly made. If anyone ever wore one for more than like 10 minutes of these Trafalgar things, they'd have died. And I thought I've always had it in as a saved search since you can have saved searches. Anyway, the other week, one turned up, and I got back my childhood Invader watch. Now, I remember as a kid, the screen on this seemed absolutely massive. Look at that now. And musical as well. Now, unfortunately, a couple of the buttons at the top don't work, which are like the light, I think, and the settings. Most important, I can't set the time on it. But you can get into the Invader mode, which is actually it's the top right button doesn't work. This is the Invader game, and left and right at the bottom to control your ship. I don't know why I'm even showing you this. You've got no idea what's on the screen. And the big button at the bottom is the shoot button, and I won't be using it. It just scratches an itch. It only cost me like 40 quid or something, this. I've seen like similar things go for fortunes, but this was just being sold by like a charity shop, and they had it as a bite now price like 40 quid. I thought, bloody hell. And I got it quickly. And it's just like seeing it again. I'm seeing something from 40 years ago, perhaps. And it's just like, flipping heck. I mean, you know. But I was so sad when that died. I just wanted to show you that, because that turned up the other day. I don't think I could make a video about it, although I do have a couple of other watches I'd maybe like to show sometime, but they just don't look good in videos, do they, watches? You know, where everything's really close up. Talking of which, I've been shooting things with my ZV-1. Generally, I'm quite happy with it. 2 issues, though. It doesn't focus very close in video. I'm used to things focusing really close, and I'm having to take this back to get it to focus. Also, a bit flaky on the focusing. Everyone goes on about these things are great. Not as good as my old RX10 Mark III for maintaining a solid focus on things. Once you got this focus or something, it tended to stay on it. This is it's always hunted. Well, not always, but it's done it an awful lot. And you can imagine how many lights I have in here. If this can't focus in that light, there's something wrong with it. But that weighs an absolute flipping ton compared to that. This is so convenient. Oops. But yeah, and the other issue I've had with it, so I've been getting used to the focusing and trying to lock focusing and all that, but with a screen this size of my eyes, sometimes I've locked focus, it's not focused. And then the other issue I've got is with the mic input on this. Well, a slight issue. I'm using this microphone, this lavalier mic, lav mic, although I can't really say lav mic because, you know, it gives impressions of having a microphone in a toilet, like a Chuck Berry type of a microphone. So and also there was a chap recently saying it's not lavalier, it's lavalier or something, you know, again in the pronunciation sin bin. There was one of those. And then people over here called lapel mic. Is it on my lapel? No, it's not. It's on my shirt, so I'm not calling it a lapel mic when it's down here. Anyway, this mic, the unnamed microphone, when I plug it into here, there's been a little bit of a buzz on the audio. Now, it's probably just a mismatch between the two things. That doesn't like that, or that doesn't like that. But there's been this little buzz just in the background, and there's quite a few videos recently I've had to go through, and I've applied a noise filter on just to get rid of that buzz, because a couple of people have mentioned it. Only noticeable through headphones. But yeah, that's been a bit of a thing, because never used to get that issue with the last one. But that got me onto buying something. Do you remember I did the video about the Bluetooth microphone for the camera? Not many people were interested in that one. I thought it was a nice video. I managed to get out and about and stuff, but it was very niche. Anyway, I bought the updated one, which I'm going to try using with this ZV-1. So I've got a Bluetooth mic, it'll clip on here, and I've got a Bluetooth receiver thing that goes on the top of the ZV-1, and I'm going to try it with a Bluetooth mic. We'll see how it goes. You know, if people complain about the sound, although it's not very good, if people are happy with it or don't mention it, then I'll be fine. But I just wanted to try it out. But the thing was, these are expensive. Let me give you some prices. In the UK on Amazon, £199 for this set, which is a bit much, I thought, just to be trying something out. So I went and looked on Amazon US, and the cost of buying one from the Amazon US, importing it to the UK, including all the import duties, charges, all the rest of it, £207. So £8 more. Not a good idea. So still UK best at £199. However, I then went on the Amazon Japan website, looked it up there, £134. So I'm saving £65. No, 65. 65 £65. So I saved £65 basically getting it from Japan. That's all the charges. Your Amazon do the upfront charges, so they collect the import duties. And I'll be honest, that's the maximum. They might even give me a bit of a refund. Sometime 3-4 weeks after you bought something, they'll credit you if the duties were less than they expected. So that has been a benefit, being able to import that from Japan. I haven't used it yet, but I've got to talk about other issues I've had with importing, because this is all due to the Brexit and the new different importation rules and negotiations and all the rest of it. So I think I get stuff cheaper now from Japan than I did before. Not that there's that much I want to get from Japan, but I've had a bit of a nightmare with some other stuff. There's been an 8-track changer, that a really, really unusual 8-track changer, because I've seen plenty of 8-track changers over the years. There's a Telex one. There's one with like 5 in a box. I've got in here somewhere. Can I reach that box? No, just trust me on that one. But yeah, 5 8-tracks in a row, and you stick them in this, and that's one that I'm meaning to repair in the future. But then I saw this other, I thought, oh, that's great, and it did it like a gun, you know, like you'd have a barrel and it gone, and you know, like that. Well, it was like they fit in like that in a barrel, and it like, I thought, oh, that's cool. Guy in the Netherlands advertising it, ended up working out probably about 500 quid or something for this thing. He said it kind of worked sometimes. Back in May, I ordered this just from the Netherlands. Always got stuff from the Netherlands, all the rest of it. But of course, it's all changed now, isn't it? So previously, Europe would have just sailed straight through, no problem. Now, being outside the EEC, it's got stuck. Something to do with forms or the way things are, you know, like what this form wasn't filled in right, or maybe this, or all the duties were different, whatever it was. He's just got stuck and stuck and stuck, and everything that anyone's tried to do to get this thing moving on, both from his end and my end, this is via UPS, it's just stuck full stop, and nobody can seem to get it moving. You know, the other day I was on the phone for a couple of hours trying to speak about it, try to get people to move it along, and everyone's kind of all denying that it's anything to do with them, but nobody's also capable of getting it moving at all. So at the moment, it's just stuck somewhere. So that is annoying, that one, because I'd like to get it eventually and be able to try and get it working and show it to you, because I've got some interesting 8-tracks I wanted to show with these things. And then the other one was just a book from Japan, and I wanted this book about Sony products, and it had like loads of pictures and things, and I thought, I wonder if it has the PCT-15 in it, because it seemed to like be the history of Sony products. I thought, oh, that'd be interesting. It was even before I did that video, of course. So I ordered that from, well, it was on eBay, but it was coming from Japan. They were all from Japan because it's in Japanese. And expensive book. It was like 60 quid or something, including the delivery, but quite a thick book, like a coffee table type thing. Came out perhaps 10 years ago. And it's just, that's got stuck as well. And nobody can really explain why it's got stuck. It got as far as the local delivery depot, and DHL said they'd delivered it. Of course they hadn't, because I was in all day and nobody knocked on the door. And I've got cameras and things, so I can show if anyone has been when I didn't notice. But and then so it said it was delivered, and then the next day it says it's at the depot. So it's delivered and at the depot, and it just keeps saying it's at the depot. I can't get out. So I'm having a bit of a nightmare with international stuff. So I've held off ordering a few things recently, because I've thought, no, that's not going to get through. That's going to be a problem. Hoping that in the future things will get, like, you know, the whole system will get itself sorted. But yeah, a bit of a nightmare. Finally, right. I'm going to mention these channel plugs. I said different people that had perhaps got in touch, people that I knew about, people that I'd interacted with. But the one I want to start off with first is that it seems that I've got my own tune now. It's quite a nice little story, actually. I search the word Techmoan on YouTube every now and then, and this chap had just put this video up, like, it must have been 10 minutes before. I say I only do this every now and then just to see what's going on, like what's happened in the last month or something. And this lad, he made a tune, a tune for one of my favourite YouTubers or something, he said, called Techmoan. So I've got my own tune now. So I played that, and I thought, oh, that's all right, he's made a good little effort there. So underneath it, I put a comment, you know, great tune or whatever, and he was so made up by the fact that I'd actually heard his tune, and also probably a bit creeped out by the fact I'd heard it within about 15 minutes of him uploading it. Yeah, not about 100 people listen to this thing, but and it's not my kind of music, and that, obviously, but I think it's just some young lad who's put this thing together, and I thought, good for him, you know, he's made a bit of an effort, and I wanted to be like encourage him to carry carry on doing what he's doing and like follow your dreams, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I'll link to that. But yeah, I've got my own tune now, so that's good. My own theme tune, although I probably can't use it. I might get a content match. Next, right, other people I can link to. Of course, Sam Battle, the chap behind Look Mum No Computer, link to his channel in the video description, and no doubt if you keep following that, at some point you'll see that GPO machine featured on there. I think very soon, from what I can tell. He's a younger chap, he's got more energy than me. I think the video will appear very soon. Next, a chap that I just came across, I don't know why, he linked to one of my videos from his, I think. Cathode Ray Dude. He seems like a nice bloke. I think you should check out his channel. He doesn't have that many subscribers, and he obviously makes a proper effort with his videos. You know, they're not just thrown together. And that's, I think, what I appreciate. Whenever I see somebody, you look at the videos and you think, well, I know that took a long time to make. You can just tell straight off, rather than something that someone's thrown together in 10 minutes, and yet they've got like 100 views on it or 1,000 views on it. And you kind of think, some more people should be watching this rather than the stuff that is getting millions of views sometimes. So yeah, Cathode Ray Dude, link below. Finally, a chap called Ben Gott, who is a patron to this channel, and I know him through here, and after watching some of my videos he decided to do some things along these lines himself about things that he's interested in, and they're very good. He's only done 3 so far, and they're all really well put together. And again, another chap who's getting 100 views or something, 50 views for a video that clearly has taken him a week or so to put together, put a lot of effort into it. And again, I feel it should, you know, get more eyes on there. So if I can say to you, go and have a look at Ben's videos, see what you think. If you like him, subscribe to his channel. There's people that are putting a lot of effort in, and just deserve to have more people watch this stuff, because I'm sure people would enjoy it. So those 3 people, Sam Battle, Ben Gott, Cathode Ray Dude, and that young chap, if you want, who's made a tune that you'd probably find annoying, but I thought it'd just encourage him. If he got some views on it, it just make, you know, if you make somebody happy just by clicking on a video, why not do it, you know? And I think that is everything I've got on my list. So overall, a lot of issues with this video, as you can imagine, and I'd like to try and trim it as best as I can to make it more interesting. I'm sure it's gone on way too long. I haven't got a clock and I haven't timed it, but you're best keeping these things around about an hour as a maximum, because people really do lose interest. So if when you're watching this, the subjects kind of jump around, and I might refer back to something that is earlier on that actually doesn't exist anymore, just take it from me that it was something that was better cut out. There's nothing in here that's offensive, there's nothing that's rude, there's nothing where I'm being nasty to anyone, there's nothing like that. It's just there's some bits in it that are just a bit rubbish, I think, which probably don't flow as well as they sounded to me on paper or when I was saying them. When you look back at them, I'll sit here with the editing and I'll go, nah, you know, that old bit's rubbish, cut it out. But then of course there might be some callbacks which don't make any sense, but you know, that's just how it is. I'm really appreciative of everyone hanging around on Patreon and supporting the channel, because this is what I do, this is my job, but it's also what I like doing. And I do worry sometimes. I think, well, if I wasn't doing this, what would I do? And there's absolutely nothing. I've got no transferable skills whatsoever, so it's very nice of you to support somebody with no abilities. It's like, you know, a handout to just like a hopeless fool you just feel sorry for. But I do try and put things together that you find interesting. Don't always work, unfortunately. Not everything I do is fascinating to everybody, but I try my best. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching.